Tower, Sunshine 14 at J6 with Kilo for the harbor.
Sunshine 14, Lily Tower. Mid back cliff takeoff.
All right, here we go.
Departing runway 3 on the go now is headed outbound.
14 cleared for the harbor, Kauai.
Coming up over now Willy Willy Harbor, here where the biggest boats come in, like some of the barges and the cruise ships. Nice view of Kalapaki Beach there in front of one of the Marriott resorts, popular Duke's restaurant right out on the beach. And then in the corner of the harbor ahead, you see the Huleia River. That is the same river that was used by Indiana Jones to fly away from those guys chasing him in the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah, more than 100 movies and TV shows have been filmed on island. I'll show you a bunch of those spots today.
If you press the red
Carter's
button
point.
while you're taking video, it takes pictures,
We'll see on our side.
and you don't have to stop the video. Sorry, not the red button. I think that button.
Oh, this beautiful ridge area here called Haupu Ridge, meaning happy memories in Hawaiian. A beautiful area most people don't get to see for a couple of reasons. The helicopters fly a shorter route straight west of the airport, so they don't see this side, and it's all private property. You can't explore it on foot much, shown by the Descendants, a guy named William Hyde Rice. That's who the movie The Descendants with George Clooney was kind of loosely based on. Beautiful beaches. This bigger one in the bay below called Kipu Kai. That's where they landed the airplane in the movie 6 Days, 7 Nights. Also the second Jurassic Park movie. A little girl found some small dinosaurs on that beach in the beginning. More nice beaches below and to our left side. You can access these from the South Shore. Gonna take the dirt road past the Grand Hyatt Resort. You can come past or out to any of these 3 beaches, but the dirt road ends where the red dirt is ahead. That's CJM Stables. Be a nice short walk to this Mahalapu Beach. A little speed bump there. Yeah, and up at the end of the beach where you'd park. That's a cool area. There's a cave, the Makawahi Cave you can explore. That's where they filmed the Fountain of Youth scene in the 4th Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
On 360 upper mine.
Coming down to the sunny south shore of the island, the Poipu area, you can see Shipwreck Beach. Head to the left at the big green-roofed Grand Hyatt Resort behind it. That one's Kauai's biggest resort. Yeah, beautiful area just to go walk through. A lovely beach, but pretty rough water. I would say Shipwreck Beach, more of a surfing beach than for swimming. And then the Poipu Beach Park, back down to our right side. 3 beaches in the park. The one that looks like it has the island off of it below, that's Poipu or Waiohai. Tends to be great for swimming and snorkeling and for wildlife. Monk seals and sea turtles like to lay right up on the sand there pretty much every day.
What was the name of the beach again?
That's just Poipu Beach.
Oh,
one of the more famous ones. Yeah, and the turtles will sleep up on the beach overnight, so especially around sunset or sunrise is when you see most of them. Here at the end of the private golf course, you see Lauai Bay, the Allerton Botanical Gardens go up along the river in the valley there. Yeah, and you can take some tours through the gardens, all kinds of exotic plants, but most famous for the trees with the big white roots, where they found the dinosaur eggs in the first Jurassic Park movie.
I saw you in my dream. We were walking hand in hand on a white sandy beach of Hawaii.
Out over top of the big coffee farm now, belonging to the Kauai Coffee Company.
Having so much fun.
Not as famous as Kona Coffee from over on the Big Island, but Kona is a bunch of smaller farms. Oh, this is one huge plantation, so it goes back to our right a bit, but way ahead and to our left side. Along that curve in the road to our left, there's a visitor center. You can go take a free tour of the coffee and get some free samples. Yeah, and And finally, the baby on the farm to our left. That's Port Allen, where most of the boat tours leave from.
On summer days, lying there in the sun, on a white sandy beach of Hawaii. The sound of the ocean soothes my restless soul. The sound of the ocean rocks me all night long. Oh, last night in my dreams, I saw your face again.
Just crossing over the main highway here. Makes a big letters C shape around the island's perimeter. No roads across the Nepali coast. Yeah, really no paved roads go to the middle of the island either. So about 82% of Kauai still uninhabited today. Yeah, and thus we are leaving behind civilization for a while.
Sunshine, 14 Kiwi West.
Very green as we go inland. You can see how much rainier it gets as you go towards the middle. All the way up to the center, Waialeale Mountain, often called the rainiest place on Earth. So that averages almost 500 inches of rain throughout the year. Yeah, as that's almost always in the clouds. But if you're up right around sunrise, that's typically your best chance to get a view of the top while it's still clear. About to fly west over top of Hanapepe Valley here. All of Hanapepe is private land belonging to the Robinson family. This one family owns 20% of the whole island. Made their fortune in the sugarcane industry. Nowadays keep this upslope land very natural. We'll see a few waterfalls in the valley here that, because of the private land, they're only visible by air. Yeah, and there's a real big one that'll be coming back on the right side down low by the river, the 400-foot Manavaiopuna Falls. Yeah, Manavaiopuna, more famously called the Jurassic Falls. This is where they landed the helicopter in the first Jurassic Park movie. Waterfalls all over the valley and all over the island. But like, as I mentioned, no way to see those from any lookout along a road, and because it's private, you can't hike there. But I'll show you some other waterfalls that are more accessible. Quite the change in scenery. We go further west, these larger, deeper valleys mostly been carved out by all that rain off the top of the island again. And this big valley here called Olokele Canyon, all of Olokele is still private property for a few miles to the west. Easy to see though why there are no roads to the middle. Such difficult terrain, and then up on top of the island to the right now it generally flattens out. A big plateau there because of all the rain makes it largely a swamp among the forest called the Kauai Swamp. Highest elevation swamp on Earth, home to some of the rarest plants and rarest birds on Earth. 8 varieties of forest birds up there that are found only in Hawaii. About 6 of those 8 types are only on this one island. Yeah, and again, only on top. Really neat. I like to hike up there and take pictures of them. The famous Kauai Swamp Trail starts from, now one of the ways to start it, from the end of the road up the canyon.
13 out of 50 for the rest.
Leaving behind the private land, entering the state-owned Waimea Canyon, famously nicknamed the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. And you can think of it like it's 4 valleys. This first narrow one below called Waialae. Now you'll see the many-tiered Waialae Falls in the back of it. All these switchbacks more than 3,000 feet down.
Story of a tragic event that happened in the olden days. This song is for the little, if not the last, Hawaiian fishing village in the state of Hawaii. This one's for Minoli'i and his people. Me ke aloha po mehana, Barais.
Gorgeous views all around. In some areas, the canyon's about 3,700 feet deep. So many colors, all those horizontal lines in the rock, individual lava flows that stacked up on each other long ago when Kauai was an active volcano. Certainly one of the best parts of visiting Kauai, driving the road to the canyon ahead of us. Paved all the way, beautiful lookouts. Yeah, lots of hiking trails. Definitely recommend you make the drive if you haven't already. Yeah, from a couple of the lookouts, you can see across the valley to a big set of waterfalls back in this corner. Get to the right, we'll do a turn in front of them. But the 800-foot-tall Waipo'o Falls, very popular Waimea Canyon trail out to the top. Just as a for example, you can even hang your legs right next to the waterfalls. As we do a turn, we'll probably see some people out there on the trail. There, Alex, you can see the two falls, and there's even a third, much smaller waterfall set back in the trees, kind of shadowy, but there's a small swimming hole there. Don't see too many people out there yet, maybe a little early in the morning, I guess. Usually still see them. Road up the canyon kind of parallels our flight path up to the left there through the forest of Kauai State Park. We'll actually get to see where the road ends, which is an area that is very often in the clouds. On a great day to fly. As you look the back of this Po'omau Valley quick, look straight down both sides of the plane, see more waterfalls, one called Mohihi Falls down to the right side here. And then the many-tiered Moeloa Falls straight down on the left. All these just that constant drainage out of the swamp area. We're going to continue towards the ocean right past the final lookout here ahead. Paved road all the way up, but beyond the lookout it's about a 4,000 foot drop over Kauai Valley. And this will be giving way to the crown jewel of Kauai, if you will, our famous Nepali coast. Gorgeous Nepali, simply meaning the cliffs carved out over many years from the wind, rain, and waves. Nepali coast, visible by air, by boat, or lots of hiking trails. So if you see all these sharp points or spikes in the rock to the left, those are nicknamed the cathedrals. Spectacular, but where they come to their top point, you can actually hike out there and look down upon them. That's called Kalepa Ridge, one of my favorites. Only about a mile each way. You can do that same style ridge hike with all three of the next ridges ahead, so like an adventurer's paradise out here.
Yeah, I got you. Jack,
Several beaches on the coast, just passed by Kauai. This one here that looks like two beaches, that's called Honopu. And it's connected via a tunnel in the rock. You can actually see some people down there on the beach, couple groups. And the only legal way to go there is by swimming. So those are locals that pulled up close in their boats and then jumped off and swam in. But that beach is regarded as a sacred or holy site. The ancient Hawaiians would bury their royalty in the cliffs behind it. So that's why you can't even land a kayak or surfboard on it. To stay out in the water here. You can see how calm it is right now, at least. Number of boats out. You see Nuololokai Beach to our left with that big reef, where a lot of these morning boat tours stop for their snorkeling. And some tours even dock there, have you go on shore and explore what's left of an ancient fishing village. So that's what that walking trail is. Almost looks like a dirt road, but just for those tours.
Helicopter. Oh, helicopter.
See Brian and the red helicopter going below, and then another view of getting ahead of myself, another view of Honapu Beach. That's one of the tunnel. Maybe see more of by the waterfall there.
59, Beach in Luma High, 1.8.
And this next beach down below the cathedrals, this one is Kalalau Beach. So that's the end of the famous Kalalau hiking trail. Goes more than 11 miles each way up the coast ahead, often ranked in the top 10 most dangerous hikes on Earth. So not for everyone, but you might see some people on the beach. Maybe even some kayaks with the right permits. However you get there, you can camp up to 5 nights on it.
Radio on the reverse, descending out 3.4. 7.14,
The water is so clear, it's beautiful.
Right, scope on all the reefs there. On these glassy days, we do sometimes see wildlife. Seems like it's more common in the winter time. Obviously that's whale season, so we see them very well, but this also seems like winter we see more dolphins and manta rays, sometimes sharks as well, but can show up anytime. See some kayakers down there. Heck of a day to be out there. You'll also see more sea caves. In this section, a few of these caves are a couple 100 feet long. Yeah, and of course, when it's calm like this, the small boats and kayaks go in and out of them. I can see some boats zipping in and out right now.
on the reverse for New Louisville.
Mouth of the valley, you see Hanakapiai Beach. That's the first 2-mile mark. The Kalalau Trail, really before it gets dangerous, so you don't need the specific hiking permit to go there. And if you can get there, you can also go 2 miles further up the river. And in the back right corner of the valley, in a moment, you might see the 300-foot Hanakapiai Falls. Yeah, kind of tucked away in the back in the shadows. Beach here on the corner. This is where the road ends and that big trail begins. That's where you do need a reservation, so completely separate from any hiking permit. The reservation, if you want to park there, you have to book 30 days in advance. Yeah, and even then it sells out within a few minutes. There's also a shuttle from Honolulu. You can reserve a spot, but that's been selling out at least a couple weeks in advance as well. So, yeah, just have to plan ahead.
And the dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday you wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like
Coming around Tunnels Beach now with that enormous reef off of it, often known for great snorkeling and diving. You catch it on a calm day, you see some boat tours out there. Those would be the ones that leave from the North Shore. Yeah, go toward Napali that way, because the South Shore ones just can't come up this far. They're too long and oftentimes too rough.
and the dream that you did to, oh why can't well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I'll watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
The North Shore, again, the rainier side overall, so stays very green all year long. Very jungly feeling. This is the middle of the dry season as well, but of course it's relative. Kauai gets plenty of rain throughout the year.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. See friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up.
Right in the center of the North Shore, out to our left side sits the Honolulu Bay. About 2 miles of beach through that horseshoe. Honolulu town on the inland side, lots of shops and restaurants. Quieter resort community of Princeville out across the bay. And one of my very favorite beaches out by that pier where all the boats are moored, protected from the waves. Nice sandy bottom. Fun to go jump off the pier, and then you get these amazing mountain views. Really nice.
The dream that you did to, why, oh why can't I?
That's where we were yesterday.
Oh, you did go down there? And then, of course, you drive past all those flooded fields to get up there. Those are taro fields. Taro, staple of Hawaiian cuisine. Of course, most famously made into poi, but about 60% of the entire state of Hawaii is taro grown in this one area, and thus agriculture is the #2 source of revenue for Kauai behind the tourism. Nice views of these 3 mountain peaks in particular from even that beach at Honolulu. Their waterfalls, this real thin, dry one to our right called Mamalahoa Falls. Yeah, that one a bit more temporary, just kind of shows up here and there. Yesterday afternoon we got a big heavy rain cell that moved right over top of this mountain, so end of the day there were just like dozens of waterfalls, really cool. That being said, we do have quite a few that are always around. Bring up to a big one just ahead, Namolokama Mountain, straight ahead touching the clouds. 4,421 feet high, and it has what I think is the best waterfall in all of Hawaii. Right off of its north face called Waioli Falls, well over 3,000 feet tall. It never quite dries up, but that's called Waioli Falls, as I mentioned, meaning the joyful waters.
Straight through 2.0.
Up the Honolulu River Valley. This one goes right up the middle of the island. All state land, so in theory open to the public. There are just no roads. And there really aren't hikes to the bottom of the valley, so largely inaccessible. But as we fly it, keep a sharp eye out in these lower parts. Tend to see quite a few more smaller waterfalls, but ones that are always around again. So very lush and green, that bright lime green right up the cliffs. It looks like grass or moss. Most of those are thousands of ferns. And many types of ferns are native, but the majority of plant life in Hawaii today is not native, including most of the famous stuff, funny enough. Like pineapples are brought here from South America. Around the year 1800, macadamia nuts brought here from Australia. Even things like the taro, breadfruit, and coconuts brought with early Polynesians who likely came here from the Marquesas Islands, which are 2,000 miles southeast of Hawaii. By many estimates, around 1,200 years ago that they arrived. Coming up to the very heart of the island now. This is Waialeale just next to us. I mentioned before, one of the very rainiest places on Earth just up top. So usually in the clouds, but beyond this next ridge, you'll see into the near vertical rock walls of what's called Waialeale Crater. These climb straight up more than 5,000 feet high. And eventually reach the summit called Kauai, 5,243 feet.
29 north wall, are you behind me? Awesome, thanks.
Where is my love, Kamalani? Please answer me, Kamalani. Pukaninui, Pukaninui. Oh, here I am, Kamalani. Here in this paradise, Kamalani, Kamalani. Is this the fullness of heaven?
Lots more of these very flat top trees below, kind of look like broccoli from the air.
29 south.
Those are called albizia trees, brought to Hawaii from Indonesia. Early 1900s during the sugarcane days. Brought for erosion purposes, known as the world's fastest growing tree. They can grow up to an inch per day. Pretty radical. So as you can tell, they spread everywhere. But the downside of that is they become very weak with that fast growth. So they break off easily. Can cause a lot of damage, unsafe to even be around when it's real windy. Now, some areas, you'll see where they cut them down, they're able to burn them for some electricity. And then they plant these neater organized fields of Australian eucalyptus, also for renewable energy, but a much denser fast-growing wood, so more efficient. You can see some areas just ahead where they recently harvested those as well.
Flight time mission Lima 1.
Please come to me, Kamalani. When nights are still, Kamalani, you can hear the voice of Pukaninui. Oh, here I am, Kamalani.
Louis Tower, wings 11, approaching Lakes Falls, Lima.
We'll be together again.
Yeah, wings 11, report Lima Falls.
For Lima Falls, wings 11. East shore of the island ahead of us, almost all beaches, as Kauai has the most beach per area of all the islands, right around 50% of our shoreline natural beach. A fun way to see the east side ones. There's an easy pay bicycle trail. You can rent bikes in Kapa'a and then just cruise along the ocean. That's a good time. Yeah, a fun way to get a lifted view of the east shore. You can hike up a famous mountain called Sleeping Giant just out to our left. There are a couple different trails, but you can get all the way to the very top point of it. Great view up there, just over 1,200 feet high. And then finally we have one last set of waterfalls tucked in by those white sheds in the field to our right, one you can drive to. 10 to 15 minutes from the airport, the popular Wailua Falls. Might have to wait a little bit for a parking spot there, but there you can see the first waterfall. There's actually 3 of them. And despite some no hiking signs, very popular trail. Down to the bottom, you can see a few people there on the rocks. And I get around the fence and then look for some ropes to the bottom. Fun to swim under there.
Saddle 2000.
I'll be looking for traffic and report to saddle, Lonnie 9.
Wings 11, traffic, Lonnie, inbound from the lakes at 1,000 feet. Report left base.
Okay, I got traffic inside airport left base. Thanks a lot.
Lonnie 9, I got the airband in sight.
Roger.
Back to Lehui ahead, the second largest city on island by population. Kapa'a to the north, slightly larger. Our entire island, 72,000 residents or so. Then on a normal year, we'll see 1.2 million visitors. Yeah, that makes Kauai the 4th most visited of the islands in that regard. It goes Oahu, Maui, Big Island, and then Kauai.
Land north pad, Lonnie 9.
Wings 11, runway 3, clear to land.
Clear to land runway 3, wings 11. Well, as we come back to land, make sure you got those seat belts fastened one more time here. Airport just ahead. Red 4, see direct landing at your receive caution.
Yeah, I got you.
Wings 11, you're in discussion park.